Good morning, class. How are you this morning? I'm good, and I trust that you are doing well. I'm Madam Winnie. Today we'll be doing food and beverage outlets. I hope you can hear me. Can you see my screen? Okay. So today we'll be sharing on food and beverage outlets, and our learning outcomes will be excuse me, explain the criteria used in classification of food and beverage outlets, classifying food and beverage outlets, discuss the various categories of food and beverage outlets. So as we begin, we have the scope of food and beverage outlets. This is where the catering establishments are organized to provide food and beverages. And the scope means the range. We can classify the food and beverage service operations into different categories or fields. One being the commercial sector, which is the primary catering establishments. We have the secondary or the welfare. We have the commercial sectors, whereby these are just concerned with providing food and beverages, and they may be defined as those operations in which profit is the primary concern. That means the aim of the operation is for profit maximization. Catering is their main activity, and they serve both the general and the restricted markets. We have the welfare catering. In these outlets, provision of food and beverage is a part of another business. Food and beverages are served to fulfill the social need of the people or the society, or even to recognize authority. Mostly, such operations are subsidized by the government, which normally indicates or dictates the allowance per head. The market in this sector is restricted. Customers will have no choice but to abide with what has been set. They are mainly concerned with institutional and employment catering. Employees catering can be in private or public ownership. Then we have the criteria used to classify these food and beverage outlets. One, we said it is whether it is a commercial or a welfare establishment. And we say the commercial one, they are there to make profits. So their main aim is profit maximization. The welfare one, it is just taking care of the well-being of the customer, ensuring that there is customer satisfaction, and offering foods and beverages that will be able to satisfy the customers. Then the market served is another criteria that is used to classify the food and beverage outlets. This means it can either be general or the restricted market. And here, the food and the beverages are served to the customers, and the market is open to everyone for the general market. And for the restricted market, it is used to serve a specific group of people. The ownership is another factor to consider. This refers to the person who owns the establishment. It can be either a privately owned or public or government owned. In most cases, commercial or private privately owned and welfare are owned by the government. So whether catering is the major or minor activity, commercial sectors or catering is the main primary activities. In welfare catering, it is not always available to public, and catering is secondary to main business. When we say that catering is secondary to main business, it means that there is other business that is going on, and then the catering is the secondary factor. The commercial sector, we have the general markets. These are primarily or basically concerned with profit maximization in both the private and the public ownership. The main activity may be catering or even additional service to the customers. We have the hotels. They provide accommodation, food and beverage services. Mostly, you may find that they may be not having an accommodation, but they are offering food and beverage services to satisfy their customers' needs. There are different types and different standards of restaurants, and therefore the restaurant will be our second. And their speciality. There is specialty or grade restaurants, and there are three main objectives. One, to provide foods, to provide beverages, and maybe provide accommodation. We have different types of restaurants. We have coffee shop, continental restaurants, specialty restaurants, grill room, dining room. You can name them, those are just but a few. And then under the restricted markets, this is where not everybody is allowed to serve or be involved in that market. For example, the travel catering or the transport catering. This is where food and beverages are served to the passengers, maybe just in between the journey. Like for example, in the trains, a good example is in the SGR, they use this kind of service, the aircraft, ship, and in buses or private vehicles, which is not very common, but in the trains, aircraft, and ship, they offer food and beverage service. It's a restricted area, it's a restricted market because it's not everybody who can go and offer these services. The second one is the clubs, where food and beverages are served to restricted clientele. We have the institutional catering, like in our institution, whereby the food and beverages are served to people, either the people are working or they're in the industries or factories, but the food is at a subsidized rate because those establishments are not so much into maximum profit making, but they standardize their prices so that they can be able to offer these services to their staff or to the people in the industries. We have the fourth one, which is the function client catering. It is the fourth point of the restricted markets. And in function client catering, food and beverage are served at specific time and place for a given number of people at an agreed menu price. And also, outdoor catering may be found in these places, maybe commercial or welfare outlets. So that means that the food has to be for a specific number of people. Like we say 30 packs, 40 packs. And there is an agreed price, or should I say a predetermined menu price for the dish per plate. We go to today's assignment. I'll be leaving you an assignment. I expect this to be submitted by the class rep latest on 20th of this month. So today's assignment will be discuss the welfare or the subsidized sector in catering. It will carry 15 marks. This is to help us in the continuous assessment. So ensure you do the assignment and submit it to your class rep. Any questions so far? Anybody with a question? So silence means you've all understood. That is what I take it as. That silence means you've understood everything. So let's meet next time. The next time we'll be having a physical class. Let me find the assignments. Class rep, make sure you submit these assignments by 20th. And that will be all for today. So I want to wish you a very good day and do your best and make every minute count. Thank you so much for your time.